17 after 9 o'clock, we are now joined by Nicholas Bauer. He is the spokesperson, Environment and Infrastructure Services Department. Regarding, I beg your pardon, we're not talking to Nicholas Bauer now. I've got it all wrong. We are talking to Sam Soul. He's from Amabhungane. He is the managing partner. And we're looking at the story around the ConCourt ruling that executive ethics code is unconstitutional, and obviously above and beyond the obligation to declare any personal or private financial or business interest, executive members will now have to disclose funds received for their internal party campaigns. That indeed is good news, because it does indicate then that people who have funded specific parties will not those party leaders will not be driving the agendas of their funders. I hope I've got that right. Sam Soul, a very good morning to you. You are the managing partner at Amabhungane. Let's talk about this matter.
Yes, you have got it right. Going forward, once the president promulgates a new code, people will have to declare, at least not everybody, but members of the executive will have to declare funds that are contributed to their internal party campaign, such as the one we had between Cyril Ramaphosa and Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma in 2017.
You're referring to the CR17 campaign, but this new ruling obviously doesn't take that. I suppose it's viewed as an old matter now. This will only come into effect going forward, probably with immediate effect. So everything that's been done in the past, that door's closed on those type of investigations.
Well, it's closed on for investigation, but this ruling is not retrospective. So in fact, the court confirmed that in terms of the interpretation of the code as it stands, the president was correct in that he did not have to declare, and hence the court said the code has to be changed, and it won't be immediate, because they have given the president 12 months in order to make the necessary changes. So it may happen before 12 months, but he's got a maximum of 12 months to put that into practice.
Okay. Will it be put into practice, and how is that going to impact on funders? Knowing that they are going to be out in the public domain, lots of funders want to remain anonymous for reasons of privacy protection and their own business interest. Is this not going to scare away the funders?
Yes, I think it will scare away funders who don't want it known that they are providing funds to politicians to support their campaign. And I think that's a good thing, because we don't want people exercising secret influence over powerful politicians. We want to know who is supporting their campaign, so that we can scrutinize their activities to see if they are in fact sort of making undeclared and undisclosed paybacks in terms of the decisions that they're making. We've seen from the kind of similar things that have happened with party funding that the disclosure provisions that came in not that long ago have indeed impacted on the funding of political parties by private interests, because a lot of funders that did fund were only happy to do that as long as their funding was not disclosed. And so it makes it harder for political parties to raise money, but I think that's good, because they have to raise money from legitimate sources that are willing to be known.
I don't want to make a blanket statement here, but obviously most of these funders are not doing it for the love of the particular party or politician. It's what's in it for them, is it not? At the end of the day, it is bottom line, and it's big business. Politics is big business.
Look, I think that's part of the problem. The influence of money in our politics is too large. obviously parties need some funding to function. They get some funding from the state. They also need to look to membership, grow membership and membership contributions, rather than rely on big business. Because as you point out, big business doesn't often give away, very large amounts of money for free. They want influence, they want access, they want policy decisions taken in their favor. And that's a problem, because it at least puts pressure on politicians to make decisions not in the broad public interest, but tailored, to their special interest. And we've seen that all over the world. And I think that to the extent that we can protect ourselves from that, make that kind of influence harder, it's good for our democracy.
However, Sam, when we look at the flip side of the very same situation, does that not then create challenges for the smaller parties? I kind of, wonder how they then will be, go about getting funding.
Look, I think in a way it levels the playing field a bit for the smaller parties, because they obviously have less influence, and so they're less able to sell themselves to people looking to exercise influence. So I think, in a way, the bigger parties derive more benefit from the kind of unspoken influence that is for sale. And this levels the playing field a little bit between the bigger parties and the smaller parties, so that people have to make a bid for support based on policy, based on their track record, based on the candidates, the quality of the candidates that they put forward, etc., rather than on the basis of influence.
Whether we like them or not, we do need the smaller parties, even if they go into coalitions, because we need strong opposition. So if the smaller parties merge, form coalitions, then we do know that we do have strong oppositions. We can't have just look at the state of the country under the ANC at the moment. We're on our knees. It's almost as if the death knell has already been, blown, has already fallen.
Look, we obviously are in desperate strait, and a lot of the responsibility has to lie at the door of the ruling party. I think part of the problem has been that politics developed into a patronage machine, particularly within the ruling party, and but even some of the smaller parties have started to operate in a similar way, and this ruling hopefully makes it harder for parties to do that.
So, Sam, do you think in a year's time this will be our reality, the reality of the way politics now starts playing out, that parties would have to declare, how and by whom they're being funded? And hopefully the politics will become cleaner than it is currently.
Well, look, that's the hope, but it relies on the media, on civil society, on voters, on activists, to try and put pressure to hold politicians to the rules. Obviously, implementation and enforcement is the huge problem that we have in this country, but we all have to work to improve those things.
Okay, thank you indeed. Let's see how this plays out. A couple of more months for us to wait and see how this pans out, and whether we can hold the funders and the political parties or leaders that they fund, if we can hold them to account regarding funding of the parties and what agenda they are pushing. Is it serving the communities and the country, or is it serving that personal relationship between corporates, large corporates, and political leaders and parties? Sam Soul, Managing Partner at Amabhungane, thank you indeed for your time and your thoughts on this matter. Go well.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
It is exactly 27 after 9 o'clock. News and views right here on Salam Media. We are now standing by to talk with President of Al Jamaa, and that is Hanif Hendricks, about Heritage Day.